What's up, guys? Welcome back to ED Fans Talk. Oh man, it is the infamous defeat Monday, guys. And then on top of it, it actually had to come on Christmas Eve, which is very, very, very unfortunate, especially when you're a Miami Dolphins fan. This isn't a happy defeat Monday. It got me thinking about Christmas and stuff, and the reality is the Miami Dolphins have continually not given us, the fans, great celebratory Christmases in the past, man. I mean, if you really think of it, go ahead and look at, the teams that are definitely in the playoffs right now. Their fan bases have given them, just happy, joyous Christmases. A lot of us, we love football so much, especially our team, the Miami Dolphins. You just want that joy to carry into the holiday, or at least have a shot. But unfortunately, here on Defeat Monday, TD has to say that our season has officially ended, man. I haven't come to the reality of it until right now, actually admitting it out of my own mouth, that our season is officially over. So with that being said, y'all, at the end of the day, it's fins up no matter what. Right now, it's just us already being in that mode mentally of where do we go from here. I know we got a lot of people, a whole lot of people in that journey of where do we go from here that has their opinion, and I mean, let's be honest, y'all, you can read comment sections to know that those opinions are so spread out. It is everywhere, opinions is small. Opinions from one side to the other, this side all the way to the way far end is saying keep the same team that's going the next season, hoping for no injuries. And way on the other side, people are even calling for Ross to sell the team. Ross to sell the team, man. And that's the best thing for the organization. Man, it's just so spread out, guys. And the reality is, when you come to think of it, I can give my opinion on what should happen, and I'm going to continue to give my opinion on what should happen. But at the end of the day, when you really think of it, it all comes down to Stephen Ross and the decisions that he make long-term for our franchise, for the Miami Dolphins in our future, in hopes of getting us to that ultimate prize one day of winning a Super Bowl. That's just the reality. And again, whether you believe this person should go, that person should stay, this person should be replaced, at the end of the day, we have to sit back and also wait on the decisions that the owner makes and then go from there. It's a lot of interesting things that's been happening over the last 24 hours that's to me is kind of mind-blowing. Like, for instance, Gates coming out, hey, Ryan Tannehill will be starting versus Buffalo. Some people are looking at that as, well, if that's supposed to be your future quarterback and there is no hope to go to the playoffs, then why is he starting? You should be benching him. You should be having him sit down, which is giving indication that he's out of the door. And I'm trying to tell people that that does not lead to that, okay? At the end of the day, look how many other teams right now, about 15 other teams in the NFL, that are not going to be making the playoffs yet. Their starting quarterbacks are still playing. So at the end of the day, and those quarterbacks, usually they want to play anyway. Their career hinges on stats as well. Let's be honest. If they do have to, I don't care what player it is, because if that's the case, Laramie Tunsil shouldn't be playing this game coming up. Minka Fitzpatrick shouldn't be playing this game coming up. There's quite a few. Xavier Howard coming back from an injury. Why? And that'll be even more puzzling if he does play. Why? Why? What's the purpose? You can go aggravate yourself even more. So I don't look at it as if he's the franchise quarterback, this and that. Like I said before, everybody can call for what they think should happen, but we're going to be at the mercy of our owner to hope that he makes the best decision, guys. And at the end of the day, if he makes a decision that I love, and we roll with it. If he makes a decision that I don't like, I'm going to vent my frustration, but move on excuse me, in hopes that the decision he made was the best one, and that it turns out that I was educated on the matter and it was actually a great move long term. But I do ask everyone who is out here talking about change this and change that. If we didn't have any injuries, I mean, injuries are going to happen, so you don't use that as an excuse. But if we didn't get impacted the way we did from injuries, you know, even Tannehill, you know, I keep on saying offensive lineman been hurt, this and that, that and this. But even your quarterback going down, your O-line as a result of your O-line going down, just terrible. At the end of the day, whatever he decides to do, I'm going to be behind. But if we didn't have any injuries, man, not as significant, we would be talking a different story right now. And to be honest with you, it's so crazy how one win, y'all, one win and our whole outlook is totally different right now. Example, the Colts game. One win and our outlook is totally different. We're in the playoffs. One win away. And that was with all the injuries. One win away. One win, man. Cincinnati game. Tunsil goes out. We get obliterated after that on the left side. One game, y'all. One game. Jacksonville, oh my gosh, the nerve. One game. And I'm not even, I know that there's about 2 or 3 more that I can name. I mean, let's be honest. There's about at least 2 more games that I can name that we had a chance. We should have, I mean, we should have, I know, shoulda, coulda, woulda. Shoulda, coulda, woulda, I know. But one game, y'all. One game. One. Totally different outlook. Totally. So just imagine that. And what kills me the most, those who are upset the most, do you realize one game and you would have been excited if they said the Miami Dolphins are going to the playoffs? Regardless of all the drama, regardless of all the things that you didn't like this season and that we blamed, one game and we wouldn't even be complaining. We wouldn't be. We would still have this information inside, like, okay, but one game and we wouldn't even be feeling the way that we're feeling. And somebody said today, they emailed me, they said, you know, because we text back and forth, and they text me, and we text back and forth, and they said, hey, why are you so calm about it? Like, I mean, aren't you mad about it? I mean, you're a diehard fan, and yeah, I'm a diehard fan, but at the same token, one game away from the playoffs? I mean, did you forget we were only supposed to win 3 games? We went into the season, and they told us we were only going to win 3 games. Soon as we hit 6 wins, it was a win for me. Yeah, I want more. I want more for my team every time. No excuse. We need more. We're tired of what we're going through. But to do what we did with all the injuries, y'all pump y'all brakes. Please pump your brakes. It's easy to fall victim right now of all the haters of our team, of our quarterback, of our defense. It's easy to fall victim right now to all the haters. They're hitting you when you're at a low. They're punching you when you're at a low. And what better time to spew off the narrative? Get rid of everybody. Get rid of your quarterback. Get rid of this. Get rid of that. That person sucks. That person sucks. And you're letting your decisions be skewed by one game. One game. And I know the haters are going to try to get right back in your ear right now and say, it hasn't been one game. It's been 7 years. You already know. Y'all already know. If you've been on this channel long enough, you know we done went through the timeline already. We've gone through the timeline of almost every player. We talked about all the players, what matters and what doesn't. At the end of the day, one game. And we had that one game at least 4 different times. Gabe Gold, I appreciate the donation, man. I appreciate it. Thank you for your love and your support, because TD Fans Talk not going anywhere, especially from one game. One game. Injuries, guys. What injuries did to us, though. See, I'm the type of person that in the darkest moment, I still look for the light, because as I move on to better the moments, I want to make sure I don't lose that light. I want to make sure that I don't move on to better over here, but I took a loss right here because I moved on to better right there. In all of our darkest moments, y'all, at least we got to see some light. Dark moment, Tannehill gets hurt. We get to find out that Osweiler does not belong on our roster from this point on. Light, even though we had darkness, at least we got answers. Tannehill comes back from his injury. 3 games of excellent play. 3 games of excellent play from Tannehill. Excellent. See, we want to forget that. 3 games of excellent play. Excellent. Even with the hurt team. Even with the hurt team. Excellent play. Then we go to Minnesota and we get answers. The same, now to be honest, the same answers we knew all along, but we try to ignore the offensive line. How even if we can get it to work a few games, and to be honest, even when Tannehill played excellent, it didn't work that great, but it was still enough to get the job done. Played excellent the first 3 games out. Minnesota comes, he plays good, and then the sack party started. Putting 5 men on the offensive line while 7 defenders are coming. And running a 3-man route. And all 3 of those men going out are running straight down the field. Not even breaking on a hot route or anything. This is the reality. We were able to find that out, but you know we found out most of all in all of that is that Adam Gase has good schemes. This year what we found out was Adam Gase has good schemes. And if all his players are healthy and ready to roll, his scheme should work because he has the talent to make it work. But we also learned that if all his players aren't there, he's not that future legendary coach that can change things up mid-game, on the fly throughout the season, and still make it work. So people always ask me, why not have that same energy with Tannehill? And you're right. Just like Adam Gase, if everything around him is perfect, we're money. We're money. But when everything around him isn't money, just like Adam Gase, we can't get the job done. Even if we want to debate whether it's his fault or not. The facts are the facts. The facts are the facts. When everything right around both of those guys are perfect, we are money. I gotta repeat this. When injuries happen or everything around isn't going right, people not playing well, we are not successful whatsoever. That's what we have in the combination of Adam Gase and Ryan Tannehill. So we as fans have to decide. And of course, like I said earlier, at the end of the day, this is all Stephen Ross's ultimate decision. But this is what's up. This is the real debate. This is the real debate. This is the real issue. It ain't whether, oh, get rid of this person or say this person. This is the real debate. Are we going to structure our franchise around making sure Adam Gase has everything he needs and Tannehill has everything he needs? Or are we going to search for the coach and the quarterback that don't need both, that don't need everything around them? That's the real argument. I'm tired of making the argument around the individual. It's not the individuals. It's the strategic plan of the organization. That's the issue. We have to decide if we are going to put everything that Adam Gase and Tannehill needs around them, and we'll be perfectly fine. Contenders. Or, because we haven't done that yet, obviously. Or, are we going to look for the coach and quarterback that don't need those things? Now, some of us are already jumping to, oh, well, let's just put everything around them. I get that. But there's a thing called salary cap, and to be fair to the general managers, it is very hard. It is very hard, y'all, to have a really, really, really good team, hold on to your assets, and still be able to afford the depth. Some teams do it very well, but the greatest teams do it through the draft. They do it through the draft. And if they draft enough studs that are starter material, don't even have to be 10 rated players, just 7.5, they're going to have them for 4 years on very itty-bitty contracts compared to what they're worth when they're balling out. What Ezekiel Elliott is getting paid today isn't close to the deal he's going to get when he comes up for his contract. That's why you do it through the draft. And you're constantly drafting for your replacements, even if they're great. Look at the Patriots. That's why they don't fall in love with players. They don't fall in love with players. Maybe 1, 2, or 3. And even those 1, 2, or 3, they're giving them such a good deal that they don't mind bringing them back in over and over and over, especially since they're reliable. But they draft good, they train good, and they develop very well. So guys, if we go with the route of put all the weapons that they need around them, a lot of work has to happen in the front office. A lot of work has to happen with the coaching staff actually doing their jobs, being a winning franchise with a winning attitude. A lot goes into that, and above all, the front office has to be able to manage contracts and get great deals for great players. And it's not easy, and we've struggled with it. I like what we've done in the draft as of late, but we're still repairing from the past. Now though, the flip side of that is finding a coach and a quarterback that don't need all of that. And I must say, I'm not in that corner, to be quite honest with you. And the reason why, if I can find a coach and a quarterback today that don't need that, sign TD up. Sign me up twice on Sundays. Sign me up. Don't matter the cost. Sign me up. But the reality of that happening is like 10 times slimmer. 10 times slimmer than being able to put the pieces around Tannehill and Gase. It's 10 times slimmer than the opposite route to go. And that's where I ask everybody that vehemently disagree with me on why I don't want to get rid of my quarterback or Gase. Matt Burke got to go. I'm not talking about that no more. Just period. But why I don't want to get rid of them? Because we have an easier path. We've learned that. It's easy to be one of these other teams that didn't learn it, and they're in the learning process. Don't forget, since Dan Marino, Miami Dolphins were one of the first teams to go through the longest drought for a quarterback. One of the first teams to go through a longest drought. We got a head start on the Buffaloes, the Jets, all the sucky teams in the league. Y'all know who I'm talking about. We got a head start since Marino of going through the same insanity over and over and over, not realizing how hard it is to find that guy. And just because we missed on Breeze don't mean we won't miss on him again. These are the hardest decisions. The hardest decisions. You're not going to always get them right. And then we want to run the fire to GM when it turns out they didn't get it right. These are hard decisions. Plenty GMs and coaches have made these mistakes unknowingly, and many have lucked out. I don't want people to really think that a lot of these GMs are just great GMs by picking some of these players. Some of them lucked out. If you don't think the Patriots lucked out with Brady, maybe they didn't, because at least they drafted him. But a 6th rounder? But nobody. I don't even think they did. Even if they thought he could be a good project, we might be able to make him something. They didn't think he would be what he is. It's hard. People want it easily these days. You want it fixed so fast as well. You want to be able to snap your fingers in the offseason and get you a brand new shiny quarterback and think all your problems are going to be finally fixed. And the saddest truth about it is, somebody can make the dumbest trade with the Miami Dolphins in the world right now. Whoever the worst team in the NFL is, they can make the dumbest trade. They can trade us our 17th or 18th pick, wherever we pick. They can trade us their 1st overall pick for our pick in a 7th rounder, let's just say, right? And do you still understand with the number 1 pick, number 1 overall, it is still so much harder to find that guy that is franchise changing, that doesn't need nothing around him to still shine. Everybody keep arguing me, Andrew Luck didn't. You are a lie. They invested it the last 6-7 years in their O-line just for that man. You are a lie. Russell Wilson didn't have a great O-line, but his isn't as bad as ours. You are a lie. Just because their line is mediocre, don't compare them to what we have in the middle right now. That is apples and oranges. Ours is putrid. Just ridiculous. Ugh. Stop throwing out these quarterback names like they don't have what they need. And all I'm arguing here is, even if what they have isn't superstar, it ain't Pro Bowl, it ain't all pro, it's still good enough to get the job done, to give them 1 more second to throw the ball. We have arguably the worst offensive line in football. You know how I know that? Because not even one of the best left tackles this year in the NFL, and Larry Tunsil, even got a look at Pro Bowl consideration. That ain't his fault. That's a clear indication that your O-line is probably the worst in the NFL. And since you are a part of that unit, I'm sorry. We cannot reward you. You see how we actually negatively impact people's careers? Larry Tunsil should be enjoying the fruits of his first Pro Bowl this year for his hard work, his humbleness, his draft flop, to come in and still be a grown man and not play these kiddie games out here getting in trouble for this, that, and this. This man is working hard. But we won't look at the franchise and say, you're doing this to players. It's ridiculous, man. It's ridiculous. What does it take to get the best O-line in football? At the end of the day, that's what you should be pursuing. And when I say best, I don't mean all of them are 10 rated players out of 1 out of 10. I'm talking about as a cohesive unit, give me no less than 7s from the starters and the backups. That's where the investment should come. And the only reason that I prefer going this route, because it's the quickest route and it can be effective. What we are hoping for could leave us 30 years later saying, oh my gosh, when are we ever going to get it right? We're going to be pointing the blame finger for the next 30 years. Potentially. And that's what holds most people on to the possibility of, well, let's take a chance. The fact that you have a potential to be successful in it. We can go for hire a coach that's amazing and it turns out they're going to be better than Belichick. We can get a quarterback tomorrow, in the off season, and we be like, wow, man, we made the best decision ever. I can't believe us getting a new coach and a quarterback. Now we're Super Bowl every year. It is a possibility. And that's what everybody's holding on to. But they don't want to consider the simple fact that that possibility is so thin. It's scary thin. There's 32 teams in the NFL that's been going through the same level of hope forever. And we got a head start on everybody. And what that means is, since we got a head start on everybody with the insanity, maybe we can learn before everybody else to get out of the insanity, continuing to go for what we don't know over and over and over and over. When you have a route right in front of you that says you got the team now, even though you don't see that. Now all we need you to do is put the right depth behind it, so if they get hurt again, we got great replacements. That's it. That's the reality. For me, at least. If you disagree, nothing's wrong with you disagreeing. It's just where my logic lands. I'm not trying to create enemies that don't like me because my view is different from theirs. No, that's not how I live my life, man. It's just not how I live my life. It's not. But I have to tell my truth. My factors in my head, and some of y'all head might work brighter than mine. I don't know. But the factors in my head literally tell me, TD, you've been following your boys for a long time. Same thing over and over. You see, I don't think in segments of this season. I don't think in segments of season. Many people think about just the season. Hook my charger up on this. Many people think about just the season. I don't think about just the season. I think about what happened the last 4 years. We want it so fast that all we look at is the one season, they gotta go. One season, he gotta go. I look at the trends, long-term data. Long-term. It's just like the stock market, y'all. Same thing. People talk about, oh, the stock market's crashing right now. And I'm not like, oh, it's crashing. Oh my gosh, no, it's not a big deal to me. Because if you look at long term, let's be real. It's not like it's not going to go up again. I don't care if it goes down from 22,000 a day all the way down to 8,000 tomorrow. It's going to go back up. Look at history. I look long term, we're going to have your up and downs. As long as your trends are heading upward. Sorry, y'all. Long as your trends are heading upward, man. Upward, man, period. But guys, I don't know, man. That's I just had to get that off my chest. At the end of the day, I don't want to sit here and keep arguing with people. There's nothing wrong with the way you're thinking. This TD Fans Talk. I mean, for me, it's my job to make this show what it is, to give how I think. My thought process. If you disagree, I love the conversations. I love the conversations, man. It's just where I am mentally, where it takes me. I don't want to sit here and go start the ship all over again, and then next thing you know, we get the same answers. And then we're like, we need an O-line to protect our new asset. And the saddest thing about it is, say we do go get that O-line, and that new asset turns out to be amazing. It's not fair that we can go get a new line and a great offensive line for the new asset, but don't realize what you already had. He just never had his assets in front of him to protect his behind. Never had them. And the one time where I thought he had them, he was out for a season. The one time I thought he actually had a line. The year where Tunstall came in as a rookie, he moved from left tackle to guard. Brandon Albert played left tackle, Pouncey in the middle. And the right side was still decent. But he wasn't there to enjoy it. Not fully. And to be honest, the games he did play, that's when he kind of went on a run and he got hurt. That's why when he came back, people said, well, don't forget the last game Tannehill played before he got hurt. He looked amazing. And we forgot about that. Then he goes out again. And we remember before he got hurt, he was actually playing amazing again. 3-1 this year. Then he comes back. And he goes 2-1. In one of those games, we already know, y'all. We already know what happened. We took the ball out of his hand at the end, man. But either way, man, this TD fans talk, y'all. I'm just letting y'all know this defeat Monday. At the end of the day, little one back here, he talking his behind off now. But at the end of the day, man, it is what it is. I'll take this one. But TD, a franchise QB makes things happen even when we're other issues with the team. Skunt Dollar, I respect that. A franchise quarterback. I just personally think that we got to get away from the notion of franchise quarterback. What the heck is a franchise quarterback? It's another term that the media made for us to glorify the quarterback. Franchise quarterback. The reason why, let's go into some history of the reason why you call it franchise quarterback. You give it a higher level than everything else. Every other position, you give the franchise, not even quarterback, but franchise quarterback, you give it a higher position over everything. Do you know why you give it a higher position? Because they're so rare. And we're caught in the keeping up with everybody else to try to have what's rare instead of maximizing what we do have. That's the problem. And then on top of it, to prove my point, think about it. Go through the league right now. There aren't many franchise quarterbacks at all. Some of the people that you would name right now that you would say is a franchise quarterback, he's no franchise quarterback. He's two seasons away from his O-line getting him looked at terrible. There are very few franchise quarterbacks. You know how you gauge it? You know how you gauge it? This is how you gauge it. In your own brain, you say, give me a Tom Brady 5 years ago. In your own brain, you say, give me a Tom Brady 5 years ago. 5 years ago. I'll do one better. You could even say 10 years ago. Give me a Tom Brady in his prime 10 years ago. Knowing what we know now, already knowing what he's going to become. Give me a Tom Brady 10 years ago. And trade him for whatever quarterback you want to name in the NFL. Right? Trade him. Trade him straight up. No extra picks or nothing. Just straight up. Trade him. If that team doesn't trade for Tom Brady, then you have a franchise quarterback. Now, with that being said, it's probably less than 5. It's probably less than 5 teams that have a franchise quarterback. It's probably less than 5 teams in the NFL that have a franchise quarterback. Shut down. Did it pause on me? Probably did.